Heyo everybody, Haku here with my live reaction or read through for Chainsaw Man chapters 89 onward. You'll know from the title of the video and the length and everything how many chapters I end up doing. We're now on to volume 11, the last volume of part 1. And I did the past two as full volume reactions, but even last week people were like, I don't know if you can do volume 10 all in one video, but I really didn't think it was that long, and I just could not stop myself from reading. I had to keep going, so we'll see what happens here. I'm already running late. I don't know if I have it in me to do a full volume again this week, but again, we'll see. We'll see what happens. If I can't stop reading, I can't stop reading. But if I split it into 4 or 5 this week, 4 or 5 next week, I think there are 9 chapters. There have been usually 9 chapters in pretty much all of these volumes. So yeah, if I do 4 or 5 this week, 4 or 5 next week, it is what it is. But I just wanted to say that ahead of time. I don't know if I can do this whole volume at once. I'll do 4 or 5 chapters and then see how I feel, I guess. But I'm excited. We're going to finish this out. Again, last week it was so good I couldn't stop reading. And once I'm done with part 1, I'm going to do a week where I do like a character ranking or tier list or something like that instead of a reaction before I go into part 2. And then maybe, I don't really think part 1 needs a review. I've been discussing it as I've been going through it with you all. I'll be doing reviews of the anime as it goes along, so it's like, and with the sort of anime ranking, I reviewed it during that when I was reviewing 50 anime from worst to best for season 1. So I'm going to be reviewing the anime, so I don't really think I need to do a part 1 review. I don't know if I'll do like a part 2 predictions or anything. Again, it's probably not necessary, but I'll at least do like a character ranking or something like that before we go to the next part. And then once we get into part 2, I don't want to catch up too quickly, because once I catch up, that means either going on hiatus to let it get further ahead or waiting just for one chapter each week. So it's like I don't want to catch up too quickly, so I'll probably just do 3 to 5 chapters a week instead of doing full volumes and stuff. Just 3 to 5 a week once we get into part 2. But either way, all that aside, let's just start reading this time around. Let's go to 89. We start out with the cover here. And then I'll usually do as I do, skim through the stuff at the beginning of the volume. Okay. And it's interesting, so we have Kobani up here instead of Aki. So Aki's just completely gone from the volume thing now. And Kishibe is still here. I guess he is still around, true. Even though we've not really been focused on him, we've moved on to crazier non-human things. Then we have chapter 89, Go Get 'Em, Chainsaw Man. And we still have Kobani dancing. Da 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 da. I got a perfect. She looks back. He's just sitting there. Why am I dancing? Why indeed? They both look up. Including that death a few moments ago. I've been killed by you a total of 26 times now. So why is it that you won't eat me? Is my body that unappetizing to you? And then we have the dead guy right in front of her. Huh? With this, it's settled. And she has just an army of corpses chained up this time. I have nothing to do with this. I have nothing to do with this. Oh. You have a great deal to do with this too, Kobani. Your fear of Chainsaw Man is weakened, hasn't it? Huh? And he slumps over. I like humans, in the same way that humans are so fond of dogs. They're loyal, easily handled, clever, and stupid. Just watching them is fun. And they look to the TVs. And also, they love me. This just in, we've been informed that Chainsaw Man, the mysterious hero who suddenly appeared in Japan, has defeated the Gun Devil. This joyous development's dominating the news all across the globe. Oh! Because instead of fearing him, they're going to love him. And is that going to either make him super powerful as a hero, or is that going to completely reverse everything and make him completely the weakest devil? As of today, we will no longer have to live in fear of the Gun Devil. And I mean, So I guess, was it actually, did killing 20% just cause the rest to die maybe? This serious Chainsaw Man. Daddy, look at the TV. He fought the Gun Devil to protect us. Even when he was shredded to ribbons, he got back up over and over again. He's a hero. There was this terrifying doll army, and Chainsaw Man just kept buzzing them down. We were able to escape thanks to him. I saw Chainsaw Man ride a shark while taking down a typhoon devil. He saved me on a train. He protected me from a giant bat. He rescued me at a rest stop with the chainsaw on his head. Those of you tuning in at home, step outside and see what's happening for yourselves. His name can be heard being chanted everywhere in the world. Chainsaw Man is out there somewhere, fighting devils at this very moment. Join us in cheering him on. And they're chanting for Chainsaw Man. And I'm getting chills. So again, this is where we're tying in the title of the series. And again, with all of the merch, with all of the cheering, with having his name be held not in fear, it's either going to make him powerful in a different way, or it's going to strip him of all his power. Chainsaw Man. And all the chanting ends in Makima. He stands up, bleeding. The fear of devils gave you power. I have the humans eating that power right now. How does it feel to be eaten yourself? And again, she set all of this up with the Aki stuff, with him doing this, just to make him more famous. So again, in the end, she's using the humans, using control to hold back Denji. Now we have Angel coming out again. Usage 1,000 years. She makes a spear. You probably still have enough strength left to avoid this. But does she? And Kobani's there. And she sends the attack. Again, the art is so interesting and cool in Chainsaw Man. She sends it to Kobani. But instead, Chainsaw Man takes the hit. A true hero. And he's bleeding. Falling over onto the ground now. She breathes out. We have all these people with their chainsaws. And that's where it ends. Still, again, at the end of the volume, we saw the shot of Denji, but no Denji or Pochita again at the end of the chapter this time. And again, I don't know if that's a weekly release thing or if it's only the volume release, but that's really, really, really cool. So honestly, something I remembered while reading through this, I was trying to think if there was anything in the comments last time that I needed to bring up. There was somebody that was saying something about the Four Horsemen. I don't remember what it was. So I was like, let me go and re-look them up and everything. So the first of the Four Horsemen is the White Rider. And the White Rider, some people think it's like Jesus, some people think it's the Antichrist, some people think various different things. Is famine what a lot of people agree on it being? It might be famine. But then the second one is the Red Horse, who like pretty much everybody agrees is war. And some people are like, what if it's specifically civil war, but then wars of conquest? Maybe conquest is the first one. And it's two different types of war. But the Red Rider is generally war. And then there's the Black Rider, which I think is pestilence or plague, right? Or is that white and I'm getting famine mixed up with pestilence and plague? You know, the white one might actually be pestilence and plague. Black might actually be famine. So there's that. And then the Pale Rider at the end is very clearly, like that's the only one that is actually named, and that one is Death. Death is the only of the Four Horsemen that's actually named. But again, Red is, for most people, pretty clearly war. So it's like the other three aren't specifically stated what they are, but pretty much every interpretation of Red is interpreted as war. And then, of course, the one that is specifically stated is Death. So two of them, for sure, are going to be war and death. But, and it makes me think, too, like, what happens if Chainsaw Man eats some of these concepts? I mentioned it last time. If you eat the concept of hunger, then Do people just stop being hungry? Do they stop needing to eat? Does the body just continue on with photosynthesis because you don't need, well, I mean, I guess that would just still be cellular respiration in some way. But again, like, what is the logic? Does it just disappear? It's like if you eat war, then it's like if people have conflict over something and they don't have the idea or the concept of war, do they just say, man, that sucks. We can't do anything about this conflict between us. Like, do they just not have the ability to think of war as a concept? It's really interesting to think of things that way. And it's like from things in the past having been deleted. So it's like if a person died from, again, if this is in the 90s, the AIDS epidemic was like the 80s, right? So if people died then, but the AIDS devil is gone, then it's like, are all these people dead, but just nobody knows why? Nobody understands why? All of the sort of news and media coverage of it is just gone? Or maybe, depending on when he ate the AIDS devil, maybe none of that ever happened in the first place. So all of that is interesting conceptually. But either way, that's kind of stuff that we went over last week, so let's just go on to chapter 90. Also, I guess I really should note that last week we learned that weapons are an exception. He can eat a weapon devil, but they continue to exist. They're the exceptions to the rule. So it's like, again, how does that work? Why are weapons the exception? Is it because chainsaw itself is a tool more than a weapon, but most weapons like started out as tools and developed into weapons? So yeah, that makes me wonder then. So is it because they are of the same type? Is it because the weapon, like, you would think the idea of creating a flamethrower would disappear if you could eat a flamethrower devil, but no, apparently the weapons just continue to exist. The weapons are immortal in even that sense. But I thought it was cool to note too that I don't know if they ever mentioned that he was Katana Devil. I don't know if, like, that's just because we see that swords are a different thing, blades exist, we heard that there's a knife devil. What if, like, he ate the concept of katana, but Katana Devil still exists, but the reason we don't ever hear his name is because they don't really have the word for it anymore? Is that it? But then again, maybe they have mentioned the word, so maybe it is just fully immune, even to that degree. But either way, let's continue reading. That is, again, getting into more general overall Chainsaw Man stuff, rather than what's directly at hand for us. We have Chapter 90, Superpower. And we have Power. Ugh, I'm still sleeping, go away. Wake up, Power. So is Power within Chainsaw? And also, I forgot to mention too, when we learned about Seraphim and the different ones that are like the different classifications of angels, like Makima mentioned that they were the servants of Chainsaw Man. So does that mean that they were the servants of Chainsaw Man before, like when they were in hell, before coming to Earth, they were his servants? Because a lot of them didn't really seem to particularly remember him that much because they don't have their memories from hell. And is that why maybe Makima made sure to take them out beforehand, because they were loyal to Chainsaw, and that's why she needed to take out the servants of Chainsaw Man? Wake up, Power. Huh? Who the hell are you? And it's weird, so we have Power's consciousness, so her consciousness still exists somewhere. Ah, you must be Pochita. Denji told me about you. He smiles. Please, Power. I want you to save Denji. Aren't I dead, though? Then how are you talking to me? That's weird. Your current form is the blood you made Denji drink before. Okay, so her consciousness still exists within the blood. That, I guess, because that counts as Chainsaw eating. So again, all the concepts that he ate, do they exist inside him somewhere? Is the Nazi devil within him somewhere? Even with your blood devil powers, you'll disappear at this rate. Oh, it might just be specifically because she is blood. But don't worry. Devils can increase their strength by eating the flesh of strong devils. You can eat me and revive as a devil. Will you save Denji for me? Obviously. Tenji's my buddy. And we have him. Oh, so true. Maybe Chainsaw loses all of his power, but the little bit of power left within him, like the character power, not the word concept power. You would think if it counts as him eating her, then the concept of blood stops existing. So devils would be very screwed. So power can't stop existing because everything in this universe would be screwed if power stopped existing. So maybe what's left of her, again, like Pochita said, sort of starts cannibalizing Chainsaw from the inside, and she's the way to save him here since he's lost all of his powers. And then, he starts getting back up. Gah ha ha ha! And is this full blood devil? Oh yeah, because he said devil form. And we have blades coming out from Makima and all of her corpses. And she's coming out from Denji's mouth. And more blades come out from Makima and the corpses. The strongest! I'm the strongest, me! Usage, 100 years. Makima pulls a sword. But then, Blood Devil power makes a bunch of, And it's interesting that her name is Power, not just because it's a reference to the type of angel, but also because all devils get their power from blood. So she is all of the devil's power. Thousand Terra, Blood Rain. And Makima's down again. Makima's trash. Makima's a nobody. I'm the first president. And again, not being controlled and having somebody think less of you like that, I wonder if that weakens Makima at all. Zombie. And she summons Zombie Devil. And then, out, yeah, and they're all attacking her. Bang. She tears off one of her arms. Why, Power? Why are you alive after I killed you? Answer the question. And she latches onto Chainsaw. This is mine. Bang. She fires again. Power, be a good girl and hand over Chainsaw Man. Do it, and I won't kill you. I'll let you be my pet again. We have the tear/sweat drop going down. Your wish is my command. And she lifts him up. In fact, I captured this fool. Good girl. No way, says Pochita. I'm actually loving Pochita as a character. Because we've seen him through it. Like, I feel like it's not like I'm seeing him out of nowhere just because I've seen him in the goofy comedy things at the end of every chapter. No way. The glory is mine. And it ends here. Okay. So that's where we end this chapter. Again, not too much to talk about that I didn't talk about before in terms of power and everything. Again, I think how much can she disobey Makima? Because Makima's ability is to give people commands and they're forced to listen to her. Even Angel, who had never met her before at the time, was forced to listen to what she said. So it's like, do any of them have any ability to not listen to a command she gives? I don't know if there is a way to not listen to her command, so I don't know how much choice Power has. Okay. Yeah, I gotta move on. Let's go to the next one. So yeah, like, obviously listening to her commands is bad. Like, that's not actually gonna help solve the problem. But yeah, I don't know how much choice anyone has. And chapter 91 is Power, Power, Power. Power, put Chainsaw Man down on the ground. Power. And she freezes up. She thinks about Denji. And then, again, the weapons sprout out from Makima. Why? She runs away. Why did I defy Makima? There's no way I can win. And now we have what looks like the Mantis Devil. But she ducks it. Yeah, he. She takes out both of those guys. But the zombies are still coming. All lives are equally trivial. We see her falling, including mine. So any death, even my own, is nothing to be sad about. But but Denji can't die, and even though she's taking damage and getting torn apart, she's still running with him. Because Denji's my first friend. And I thought Power's death before was so, like, anticlimactic, and it felt like it led nowhere, but at the same time I thought that that was kind of the point. I thought that was kind of good, just to show, bam, it happens out of nowhere and Denji loses everything. It was more to be important for Denji. But I actually really love that we're getting more. This feels like more of a climax for her character. And within there, we're seeing, instead of the devil forms, the actual humanoid forms for each of them. Power? Denji, I'm here to save you. I've lived enough, Power. And again, like what Makima said, she's going to make it so that he can't live anymore. And Denji himself, like when he made that deal with her, he basically just gave up his own will and spirit. I ate a lot of good grub, flirted with a girl, got to play video games with you guys, slept next to you. From my point of view, back when I was stuck in a debt trap, I really did get to live my dream life. So I'm good. And it's almost similar to, again, the whole story has been about like the city mouse and country mouse. But in that story, how the country mouse thinks he doesn't have it good enough. He goes and he gets all this stuff in the city, but decides that it's too dangerous and returns to the country. I wonder if that's also kind of what they're doing with Denji's character, where he didn't think he had enough living with Pochita, which is reasonable, might I add. He had it pretty rough. But he didn't think that he had enough. And so he, went to chase things that he wanted. He chased all these things that he wanted, and then decided that maybe the risk or the loss that came with it was too much. From my point of view, back when I was stuck in a debt trap, I really did get to live my dream life. So I'm good. There's nothing good waiting for me in life anymore, anyway. Plus, you won't be there, right? Dummy. Dummy, 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 dummy. Don't say that. Do you miss me so much that you can't do anything? I do. You're such a fool. When devils die in this world, they're reborn in hell. I won't be me anymore, though, so if we meet again, it'll probably be as enemies. Denji, go find the Blood Devil. Find them, make friends with them somehow, and turn the Blood Devil back into power again. There's another... Oh, yep. I was like, there's another story that I just recently saw do the same thing. And yeah, it was actually Nikke. There's a character where they're like, I'm going to lose all my memories, but I'll make you into you again. So yeah, turn the Blood Devil back into power again. Then I can be your buddy again, can't I? Denji, this is a contract. I'll give you my blood. In exchange, come find me. Man, that's really good. And is this going to be how Denji gets himself back? Power? And just, again, I love it too. I'm getting freaking goosebumps again and again. Just like the very beginning, chapter 1 of the series, Denji is reborn out of the dumpster. And he tears up thinking about Power. Denji? Question. Are you Denji? Or are you the chainsaw monster? Kishibe's made it to him. If you're Denji, I'll set you free from Makima somehow. If you're a monster, then keep on sleeping in the dumpster. He looks over. And Denji throws up a peace sign. That is maybe the best chapter in the series so far. From Power's last stand and sacrifice, her contract with Denji, Denji getting himself back and being reborn in the same way that Pochita was able to do it and have him be reborn in chapter 1. That's so good. And then at the end, Kishibe promising to free him from Makima. That is, again, probably the best chapter in the series so far for me. That was so good. Like, that was incredibly well directed and written. I loved that. Okay, let's go to chapter 92. Chapter 92 starts with this big 2-page frontispiece. Chapter 92, vanilla sky. And it has that like sort of watercolory type brush that I mentioned in Chainsaw Man a couple times before. With, of course, the main trio. And then we have it again. Instead of at the end of the chapter, the beginning of the chapter, Pochta is back. And we have him waving with a tear in his eye. So I wonder if Pochta waving with the tear in his eye, because maybe he's going back to Denji's heart now that Denji is back. And he's not just Chainsaw anymore. We're getting these shots of these winding, sort of underground looking, what is it? Is it Kowloon that I'm thinking of? It's not, right? What's that one place that was just like built just on top of itself? But it's that-esque. And we have the door. And who would have thought we have Denji, Kobani, and Kishibe as kind of maybe our final trio? Everybody else is dead. Alright, it's safe to talk again. We won't be tracked here for a little while. Get some food in you while we have this chance. And then, I saw some things I shouldn't have. Does that mean Miss Makima will kill me? Yep. I can't phone my family, can I? Nope. For the rest of my life? That's probably so. She slumps down. Thank goodness. Huh? Thank goodness I have an excuse to get away from them. From who? My dad and my mom. And then Denji slumps down too. Once you've eaten, get some sleep. Got an early start tomorrow. Huh? What's the matter? And Kobani's shaking. I always get the short end of the stick. I'm gonna die. I'm scared of dying. Must be nice to be you. You can come back to life. You know, I look fine right now, but my heart feels like it's at the bottom of a clogged toilet a toilet clogged with crap. All the good feelings, all the bad feelings I had up until now, they were all manufactured by somebody else. I'm dumb as a rock, so I was cool with living as the fool, but next thing I knew, my ignorance made it all go down the crapper. And again, this is a total shift and a total change. Again, a rebirth for Denji as a character, because Denji as a character was only chasing the simple, like, what's the simple, shallow, like, oh, I want sex, I want food. Like, he was just chasing simple, shallow stuff, and then when realizing that all of that stuff is just, it's something that's been manufactured by somebody else, it's like he has to think about who he actually, like, for the first time really has to think about who he is. Like, he has to actually look inwardly towards himself instead of towards the outside. Thinking back on it, I never made any choices for myself. I just got used, always did, and it's not like he's never done that before in the series, but it's something that's like actually important and necessary for him to do now in order to move forward. He can't just rely on other people like he was relying on other people. I just got used, always did as I was told instead of thinking for myself. The only real choices I made were little things like what to eat for lunch. Even if I make it out of this alive, I bet I'll always be living in obedience to somebody, like a dog. Isn't that just normal, though? Huh? There's no such thing as a life free of bad things, except in your dreams. And we see him realizing something, and yeah, maybe that's part of it. There's no such thing as a life free of bad things. So since, like, that's kind of how devils get their power, is because everybody's scared of this life free of bad things. And it goes into both the city and country mouse, where the city mouse is afraid of not having things, even if it means going through danger, and the country mouse is afraid of going through danger, even if it means, like, getting to live more than a humble life. I think maybe fear is the problem. What? He thinks. Oh, but I wanted to be normal, and... You want to be normal, Denji. Chainsaw Man. And then he hears it from the TV. There's not a soul who doesn't know his name. With a chainsaw on his head, he cuts down devils one after another. He never reveals his identity and never asks for anything in return. Are you with me, viewers? Isn't the hero of a this isn't the hero of a manga we're talking about. Okay. So they're talking. I'm talking about the man who always gets back up again no matter how many times he goes down. Chainsaw Man. And so maybe now Denji is seeing that he thought he was always going after these things, these shallow things, but that's not how other people see him. Chainsaw Man? That's me. And everyone's cheering for him. And he goes to the TV. And we end there with Pochita watching the TV. Again, I love that now that Denji's back, Pochita is back. That's like such a creative thing. That's so good. Okay, so then, I think, like, again, the interpretation I went with was one thing, but there's also something to be said with Denji maybe now in the future might have to think about how he has to be Chainsaw Man. He might think that he has to embody Chainsaw Man. But we'll see. We'll see. This is crazy because now that Denji's back, it's like, okay, I don't think the part ends now with Denji as Makima's servant. I don't think it ends with Chainsaw as the new gun devil, essentially, the new big bad guy. I don't think it ends in either of those ways anymore. So now I think it is the Denji comes close to losing himself, but brings it back from the brink just at the end to take out Makima and save the world from her. So then he's freed from Makima, he saves the world, and the only question is where does that leave Denji as a character by the end of this? So we have to keep reading to see where he ends up. Let's go to 93. And what kind of sucks, not for the series, but for me, is that I kind of don't want to make this video too long, but at the same time, we're so close to the end that I just feel like it feels wrong to just cut off the video and wait another week this close to the end instead of just finishing it out, because we're just so close. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Sorry, hiccup. Let's go to 93 for now. Chapter 93, You and Crappy Movies. They're all praising me. Chainsaw Man, go out with me, from Mommy. Oh my god, the ladies really love me. They totally love me. He's holding on to the TV. Pipe down, will ya? The real truth is, I'm tired of eating stuff like toast with jam for breakfast. What I really want is to eat steak for breakfast every morning. So, this is kind of the opposite. I wonder if it is something that they kind of got into before, where it's never going to be good enough. Because Denji thought this about the zombie devil and those guys. He thought it before about other people. He was like, these other people have better lives than me. Why can't they be happy with that? Why do they want more? So now he has a better life than he used to have. And the same thing is he wants more again now. I know I shouldn't. I know it's terrible. But it's the same when it comes to girls too. Deep down, I want 5, no 10 girlfriends. I want to have tons of sex. And they're both just looking on. That's why I want to be Chainsaw Man. Draw attention to yourself and you're asking to get killed by Makima. She has keen ears. The next time you turn into Chainsaw Man is the day she kills you. And he looks down. And they're still just hiding out. He's still just watching himself on TV. I still want to be Chainsaw Man. How can I kill Miss Makima so that I can do that? She's not an enemy I can beat by swinging my chainsaws around willy-nilly. And all this time I spent watching her and talking to her, There's got to be something that felt off. Think. Think, Denji. Rack your crappy brain. And because of all the crappy things he's been through, he might actually, like a person living a normal life or a good life, might not have picked up on anything, but a person who lived such an especially crappy life as him might be in a unique position to have picked up on something. It's no use. My turn to crap brain's gotten even more jumbled than before. And he thinks more about her. I'm the worst. Even after what she did to me, I still like Miss Makima. And then we have the graveyard from before, and Chainsaw Man waiting. Or I suppose it's actually Denji waiting, as Makima and her essentially army shows up. You look quite feeble now. Did you come here expressly to die for me, Miss Makima? In this ultra-awesome perfect world you're gonna make, will there still be crappy movies? And she looks surprised. Why have you turned back into Denji? She gets serious. Oh, maybe that's what he thought of. Maybe that's what he figured out. Because she mentioned before how she liked crappy movies. And she gets serious. Because I think maybe for her, it's bad if it's Denji and not Chainsaw. Personally, I believe the world would be better if bad movies ceased to exist. Then I guess I gotta kill you after all then. Right then. This appearance of yours and the things you say are unworthy of Chainsaw Man. Maybe that's the reason why too. Maybe because she said she is a fan of Chainsaw Man. Maybe that's why she wants it to be Chainsaw, not Denji. But also, it makes me wonder because of how, when she was out with him, she said she liked crappy movies and everything. I wonder how much of a difference there is between Makima and Control. I find you disagreeable. And we have crows taking off from the grave markers. All of the weapon humans transform again. And I love this shot with all of them lined up going into the chainsaw. And we have Pochta sitting on the grave marker at the end. Really good chapter once again. It makes me so interested where the characters go from here. There's 4 more chapters. It seems like we're maybe getting in to some combat stuff. So I think maybe the next 3 chapters will probably be more fighting related. They'll probably be a bit shorter. Then of course the final chapter might be a bit long because it's the final chapter that was published in Jump from my knowledge. After that it went to Jump Plus. So we'll just have to wait and see. And just because it went to Jump Plus doesn't mean I think the quality probably went down. Because honestly, for when I was doing, I don't know how much more it is now, but from when I was doing Jump Week and everything, Jump Plus was kind of the better lineup. Like Jump Plus does have, I don't really watch or read Spy Family, but it had that. But Jump Plus had Torprin, Jump Plus had Kaiju number 8. It had Dandadan, I think, and that was really popular. I think that might have actually moved to mainline Jump, though. I'm not sure. But it had a heck of a lineup compared to mainline Jump. It was honestly, in my opinion, probably the better lineup on the week-to-week. So it moving to Jump Plus, I don't think is a knock on it. But either way, I'm getting distracted. Let's go to 93. Or 94. Also, I'm really sorry if you hear my stomach at any point. It's currently 4 p.m. recording this and I haven't eaten yet today. Haven't had time for that. So again, and like I wanted to record this Thursday so I could post it on the usual Chainsaw Man Friday, but I didn't get time to record Thursday, didn't get time to record Friday. I'm not recording this again until currently we're halfway through the video and it's 4 p.m. Saturday, so I'm like way behind trying to do this. So either way, we have Chainsaw Man versus the human weapons. We have the zombies being resurrected by Zombie Devil and pulling out the grave markers to use as weapons. Okay. I wonder, because the one closest on panel, I was trying to see if any looked familiar because of, again, we have had members of the Devil Extermination, whatever. Why? I've been reading this so long. Why do I not remember the actual name of the organization? Public Safety. We have had a bunch of them die, so I don't know if we're supposed to recognize any. But then this one in the foreground looks especially like focused on, so I was wondering if we were supposed to recognize him. Like, was he maybe the guy that tried to hand in his resignation all that time ago? And this is a reveal that Makima actually had him killed. But Denji's getting surrounded by all the reanimated zombies. He brings his chainsaw into the ground and tears it up using the chains and starts sending pieces of earth flying toward Makima. But it's handled by Katana and I guess the other guy's sword? Whoa. Chainsaw uses the distraction to go in at both, but then he gets taken from behind by Spear. And he ends up tearing through as Whip and Reize come at him. And again, I guess at this point, Reize isn't even really Reize anymore because she's just a Makima puppet. Then we have the zombies running into him now and dogpiling him. He's considerably weaker than before, says Flamethrower. The whole world's accepted Chainsaw Man. They're turning him into a merchandised character for consumption now. There's no need to fear him anymore. He tears through. Whoa. And I wonder if the humans can love him, but as long as the devils fear him, if that's enough. And then the entire pile is being burned. But the chains fly out, grab onto some of the grave markers, and then he pulls himself out using it, tearing through Flamethrower, but Quan Chi protects Makima. Then he ends up taking the head from Quan Chi, but he's pretty injured after all the attacks from them all. Makima points her finger at her hand, bang, and fires through, and then gives some of her blood to Denji. Wake up, Denji. I'll kill you personally. Trade blows with me. And then we have the injured Pochita at the end. So, Chapter 95, I guess then we're going to have final battle with Makima herself. So I think this is an interesting way to do it. Show how powerful Chainsaw is at the height of fear, remove that fear and weaken him, and then have the final Denji versus Makima while Chainsaw is weakened. That sounds like an interesting way to sort of power scale the finale. So yeah, either way, let's move to the next one. We're just kind of in the middle of the fights right now. Okay, on to 95, and I think this volume ends at 97, so I think we only have a couple more. Chapter 95, Chainsaw Man versus Control Devil. And she lifts up all these corpses. Rise and shine. And he immediately takes her head off. And does so... Or actually, no, of course, that's... So... The effect that happens to her happens to one of the ones she controls, which brings her back to the state she was in before. So any death that happened to her was supposed to be reflected in a non-noticeable way onto citizens of Japan. So how do you actually kill her because of that contract? You would think you would have to break that contract, or else you would just kill the population of Japan instead of Makima. But instead of being reflected onto a random person in Japan in a non-noticeable way, it happens in the same way it happens to her, to this random guy that she's using. And then she lands a punch and is fighting hand to hand, but every injury that happens to her happens to one of the people she controls. He takes her head off again, and she still manages to fight without it. And again, they're just trading attacks as Denji loses his arm, but brings out his leg chainsaw and tears her in half. But she's punching through his abdomen and pulling out his guts, hitting him again, and just tearing him to shreds. And ending with her pulling Pochita from his heart. What a great looking panel as well. Pulling out Pochita from his heart. It was unavoidable that you'd lose to my bare hands. You aren't Chainsaw Man after all. How can I get you to give up on this world, Denji? What do I need to do for you to turn back into Chainsaw Man? And he spits. Chainsaw Man doesn't spit up phlegm. Chainsaw Man doesn't wear clothing and doesn't talk. Every action he takes should be chaotic. And yet, despite not getting him at all, you were chosen by Chainsaw Man. If you're going to get in our way, then die. And it's so interesting. Her view of Chainsaw Man is that he should be chaotic. And when he lost himself to being just Chainsaw, he was just chaotic and mindless. But then how, what does that mean for Pochita? Because Pochita isn't just chaotic and mindless. He has a will of his own. And did he have that will back in hell, or did he only develop it because of being with Denji in the real world? Or not the real world, but Earth. If you're going to be in our way, then die. It almost feels like maybe Makima doesn't get Chainsaw, but Denji got Chainsaw, which is why Pochita sided with him. And that Chainsaw wasn't doing this maybe just because he was chaotic. He was doing it for good reason. He was killing all those devils for good reason, maybe. We see the chains and tendons snapping as she finally pulls the rest of his heart out. And the last of his body seems to be dying. The Poached at the end here. Okay, that's it for 95. We got a little bit more, though. How does this end? I mean, we haven't seen Kishibe or Kobani yet. We don't know why Kobani was able to do the things she did before. And also, Kishibe said that he promised that he would free him from Makima. So was his plan just to stay in hiding, or is this part of a grander plan? Does Kishibe actually have a plan beyond what we already saw? But either way, moving to 96, especially with Quan Chi being here and everything, it just made me think that she would show up, or that Kishibe would show up again to be part of it. So yeah, we'll see what happens. Let's go to 96. On to chapter 96, and everyone's down. Makima lights up a cigarette. Chapter 96, This Kind of Taste. She coughs. I've beaten you twice, Chainsaw Man. You belong to me now. We'll be together forever. Let's eat a lot together, sleep together, and have a happy life together. And one of the corpses gets up behind her. Huh? And pulls the chainsaw. And the chainsaw actually looks like it has horns like Power. And no, it's not a random corpse. So how did Denji manage this? What's the play? So yeah, it's Denji using a chainsaw with horns like Power to slice into Makima. What? And she falls down. You finally let your guard down. I'll be taking Pochita back now. Thanks. Man, talk about a close one. I wound up using every last drop of blood Power gave me. And he puts the heart back in. How are you? And it's interesting because, again, does this death again just not reflect upon a random member of Japan? That Denji you were fighting? The whole time, that was a poached eye, I tore off of my heart. I vaguely remember being able to fight like that. So, yeah. And then, your wound's healing slow, right? That's because I made that chainsaw from Power's blood. I'm making it run amok inside you. Okay, is that how to defeat her? Even ignoring the contract she has with the Prime Minister of Japan by using Power's blood inside of her? This is hardly enough to... Yeah, I don't expect a cheap trick like this to kill you. Oh, Master's here to pick us up. Great timing. Sorry about this, Miss Makima. And then he points the chainsaw at her. We see people living their daily lives in peace. Cripes, my back is killing me. You ready then? Yeah. Whew, am I beat. You're only just getting started, you know. You'll be handling everything personally from this point on. Innocent people are losing their lives even as we speak, so I'd prefer if you moved it along quick as you can. But then again, you can't exactly rush bodily functions. Yeah, I'm gonna go at my own pace. To be clear, I don't believe you can kill Makima with the method you're about to try. Be prepared for the possibility that you'll fail and die. Hey, I'm the one who came up with the idea in the first place, remember? I've been prepared. I'll be back if you're still alive. Don't you die, Denji. Out of all the devil hunters I've met up to now, you're the one most suited for the job. He closes the door. What's that about? He turns around. Hungry. You know, Miss Makima, even after everything I've been through, I still love you from the bottom of my heart, but... He dices up onions. But the people who died aren't going to forgive all the stuff you did. That's why, I'll bear your sins with you. But I was so it's his idea, because Chainsaw has to eat them, is his idea he has to eat Makima in order to get rid of her powers. Is that why all of these, containers are sealed shut? And if he does that get rid of the concept of control, which would free people from being controlled? But I was like, how do I do that? Do I strap on a bomb and blow us up together? But from what I'm told, physical attacks won't work. So attacks won't work. Then it hit me. Eureka, I'm a genius. All I gotta do is become one with you. Bon appetit. I'll start with the miso soup. Oh, I can dig it. Next, ginger fried meat and onions. That's pretty good. So, this is how you taste, Miss Makima. And yeah, the thing is, the only way to potentially kill her is to eat her. And if so, does that get rid of the concept of Makima? Alright, I think we have one more. So let's see how this ends. This almost seems like it would be an ending. I almost forgot to change the chapter number here. Patties, fried cutlet, nuggets, awful miso stew, meat only curry, meatballs, sushi, steak, sashimi, hot pot, meat buns, mystery meat hot pot, extreme juice, and then we see just a plate of hair as well. And now we have the folded hands in prayer, itadakimasu, pochita. We have all the dogs being walked, and Meowie as well, with Denji. And then, he's showing his belly, doggies. I ate it all. Miss Makima didn't revive from my stomach or from the crapper either. Seems she didn't, says Kishibe. Attacks don't work against Makima. How were you able to kill someone untouchable? I'm not out to hurt Miss Makima at all. Those are my honest feelings. I ate her to become one with her. That's not an attack. It's love. Love. Your plan probably happened to work by chance, either due to the specific terms of the contract or as a matter of perception. But I'm more interested in the explanation for something else. How is it you were able to get the drop on Makima with that attack? Given what she's capable of, wouldn't she notice you right away? I had this hunch based on all the conversations we'd had, the intel on enemies and all that. The thing about Miss Makima is, she perceives us via scent. She doesn't actually remember individual faces. She only remembers the scents of people she has an interest in. So I made a gamble. I bet that the whole time Miss Makima had only been looking at Chainsaw Man, not me. That she never saw me even once from the start. Hey, short stuff. We're having a top secret conversation here, beat it. And then they bite into his finger. How? Huh? I know this bite. Miss Makima. That kid was discovered in China. I nicked her. She isn't Makima anymore. She's the control devil. Okay, so was Makima just, again, another body or something being controlled, and this is the actual control devil, kind of like how Angel was the actual angel devil. Doggy. Makima's dead. The new control devil shouldn't have her memories or anything else. That said, and it's weird. So Makima's dead, and this is a new control devil who doesn't have her memories. So wouldn't she have been reborn in hell? Or was she reborn in hell, killed, and came back to Earth? Or was the Makima that was here and escape E from hell, and that's why she was reborn in humanity. But it's weird that she was reborn not as like a baby. But I mean, I guess that makes sense. Angel wasn't either. And neither any of the like random, weaker, like gory tomato devil type devils. That said, if we leave her with the government and let them raise her, odds are she'll turn out like Makima again. Seriously? I don't want to eat any more meat for a long while. Yep, that's why I'm gonna entrust her to you. Say again? I'm about to get busy. Figured leaving her in your care would be the best course of action. And then, Doggy. No can do. There's just no way. And then again, you can't let her say that to you because she's exerting control again. And then, little girl, what's your name? Nayuta. Nayuta, is there anything you want to eat other than meat? Sliced bread. Pretty inexpensive devil to keep, aren't you? She throws up a peace sign. And then she goes off to eat with them. And then, again, this isn't good. She's choosing what to eat. She's getting the bed while you're sleeping. Like, ordinarily, I'd be like, oh, that's cute. That's a good thing. Like, let her have the bed. But, no, this is untrustworthy. She's exerting control again. And we see Pochita and Denji's perception. Pochita. We have the kid Denji holding him. Denji, my dream was to have someone hug me. Sounds easy, right? Except I'm too strong, so it was actually really hard. But you made my dream come true. Denji, I want you to grant the Control Devil's dream too. The Control Devil, she always wanted to form equal relationships with others. She could only form relationships through the power of fear, so she always longed for something like a family. That's the kind of world she wanted to create, even if she went about it the wrong way. So you create that world for her, okay? Pochita, how do I... Give her lots of hugs. And then we have... Chainsaw Man beat another devil? Do you think Chainsaw Man's human? Killing devils supposed to be, supposedly his hobby, you know? They say he only saves girls. Hey, have you heard? Rumor has it that Chainsaw Man's a high schooler now. And now we have Denji dressed for school. End of part 1, public safety arc. So yeah, a complete change. So now he's raising Nayuta Control Devil, and he's a high schooler. And so again, do we continue on with Denji as the main character, and now we have like him as a high schooler serving as a hero, which again is like, it's so cool because if you do it that way, it's basically like you're keeping the same universe, but the entire setup for the story is completely different. It's like a completely different setup, but for the same story, which is really cool. Or we go to a completely new main character, like I mentioned before, enjoying Killing Bite's doing, where we go to a new part and we have a completely new main character. But again, Denji's still around as like the sort of hero Chainsaw Man, like who's Chainsaw Man like as a hero, but Denji a high schooler as his sort of secret identity and everything. So that's end of part 1, public safety arc. I'm just checking to see. Yeah, I think that's the end. We start the next volume next. Okay, that's the end of the volume. Volume over. I did it all at once again, so thank you so much for watching. Like I said, I want to go eat, I want to go do so many other things. This video will be up when it's up. Obviously, you all will know when it's up. I enjoyed this. I really did. I'll do a character ranking next. I'll do a character ranking next week, and then I'll start part 2. Like I said, for part 2, I'll probably do 3 to 5 chapters of video, just because I don't want to catch up too soon. I want to pace myself out, but I really loved part 1. I think the strengths are the overall main story, and probably the greatest strength is the art direction and ability to tell story through just the visuals alone and not needing to rely on anything else other than just giving us visuals. So much of the story is told through that, and it's so very good. A character ranking is going to be weird because if there's any part that I think is a weakness, it's maybe the characters. Like, the main characters are pretty solid, but even then, do I know or like them as much as I do for many characters from many other series? Not really. And there aren't really many side characters who do much whatsoever at all. Most side characters are literal who's. So if anything, that's the weakness, but it's because the main story is the focus. But either way, that is it. I wanted to thank you all again for watching. Like if you did like the video, comment down there to tell me what you thought of these chapters, my first thoughts and reaction to all of this. I've read from the very beginning of Chainsaw Man, now through the end of part 1, all on the channel. So go check that out if you haven't seen the previous ones. Like, comment, subscribe, follow on Twitter if you want. If you like, again, subscribe for more Chainsaw Man, but there's tons more on the channel. Follow on Twitter if you want. If you want a link to the Discord server, it's free and open for anyone. Ask and I can give you a link. If you would like to help support the channel, you can drop a super thanks down below. But if you'd like to not only help support the channel to help me to continue to make videos, but also get a shout out at the end of every video, get One Piece videos a bit early, you can hit join down below to become a channel member. Go to patreon.com/Haku of the Tubes, or a link will be in the description to become a patron. So yeah, thank you so much to people who are already patrons and members. Thank you to Chosen Regular Evan Hawley, Magical Girls, FR Nono and Abyss Knight, Cheriton Students, David Langstaff and Folded Ghoul, Slayer Candidates, SG and Stan Cedar, and Pure Element Pate Ardialo. Thank you all so much for your support. Thank you all so much for supporting as well, for watching all the way through for part 1. Can't wait to get into part 2 in 2 weeks' time. Thank you so much, and I'll see you all next time.